Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of the Two Scrooges podcast, a Lorcana podcast. I am Scott, Bumi Jr. Alshanski, here with Dave, Attackfortwo Solberg. Dave, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing wonderful. We both played in the Ink Invitational that happened at Omnihedral Game Store near or in Baltimore, Maryland. I'm not sure exactly what town
Just outside.
I was in.
Just south.
Just outside of Baltimore. Had a great time. We both finished just outside of prizing. We'll talk more about that a little later. There are some other events with some interesting results that we'll talk about. And not much in the way of news this week. So where would you like to start, Dave?
I'll start out with a shout out to the Ink team for putting together the Ink Invitational and inviting us and running it smoothly. It was a great event, a lot of fun. Just one minor burdensome problem where it was incredibly hot and it rained in the morning, so it was also incredibly humid. And the event was split into into an upper and lower level, and if you were on lower level, you were in the sweat box.
Yeah, and that if you were the lower table numbers were in the basement. So if you were winning, you were in the basement, where it was a little reminiscent of some card game tournaments I had went to before for a different game. I haven't sweated like that playing cards in a hot minute.
Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the deck lists.
Sounds good.
So I have here the inkdecks.com event page for the event. It was won by Kurt Spice, our friend Kurt Spice, and he was on Amber Steel Dwarf's Mine.
Yeah.
He was one of 3 Amber Steels in the top 8. Green Purple came in second. There was Braden Bowdish on Bowdish.
I think it's Bowdish.
Braden Bowdish.
Hopefully shout out Braden. He's a friend of the show.
Yep.
Hopefully he'll correct us and let us know how to pronounce his name for next time.
Yeah, great run by him on Green Steel. Daryl, a member of Team Ink, came in the top 4 with Red Blue. I've heard in his matches against Kurt, he was on the play in both games and missed ramp both times.
That's a recipe for disaster against Kurt's deck.
Yep. And then the last two Amber Steel decks plus Red Yellow Mufasa, and then David Gardner, also a member of Team Ink on Ruby Amethyst.
Haven't seen that one in a while.
Yeah.
Could you go back for just a second?
Sure.
Before we talk about the decks, can you scroll to 18th place and 21st place?
Yes. Your 18th place is right here.
Yep.
And my 21st place, we both have a record of 5-2.
5-2. Just outside of the boosties.
Yep. You did place two spots higher than me. Congratulations. Or 3 spots higher. Congratulations. But my Ink Deck's Spice-O-meter is higher than yours.
So I think that's a wash overall, but
yeah. And my game record was better.
That doesn't matter at all.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. All right. Let's talk about Kurt's
deck.
Kurt's emoji deck. Pickaxe Hamster.
The Rapunzel Tower, I guess, is what we know Kurt for. That's his little spicy card. He likes to get in his Amber Steel decks. He played it at the Continental Championships where he qualified for Worlds.
Not surprising he'd run it back. The card looked really good for him. I walked by a match that was concluding where he had a Daisy in the tower and his opponent only had a Maui Hero of All to try to answer it, and Maui Hero of All does not clear Daisy in a tower, so Kurt was at 18. He got to take his turn, he got to go to 20, and he won that match.
Yep. The mines were also really good, especially on camera in his finals match against Green Purple.
The mines
were lethal.
The mines look extremely strong into the Green Purple deck.
Yeah. Yeah, no surprise the one Worlds qualified player in the room won the event. Ember Steel, very good deck list. It was everywhere. I think it made up 20% of the field at Inc.
28%.
28%.
Over a quarter of decks. I mean, you are not particularly known for playing Amber Steel. I know you are an aggressive card player in a former life. But this deck is really strong. This deck got some really good new toys in set 8. I think the biggest surprise to me about Kurt's list is not the towers, not the mines, not the dwarf package, but 4 Calhouns.
In a room full of Amber Steel, Calhoun must have been awesome. I was playing 2 in the list that I played, and there were at times where she was quite bad, but in all of the steel matchups, she was just excellent, and she was even excellent against dogs too, as a way to keep up the pressure. Where you have to play defense, but also you
need to press the win condition too.
Yeah, what dogs is going to do, right, is they're just going to put out a wide board. They're eventually going to get the shift tramp into play. So whenever their characters are banished on their opponent's turns, they get to draw cards. And then they're just going to turn sideways, and then you'll fight back. They will refill, and then on the following turn, that gain the lore again. And because everything in the deck costs 1 or 2, and most every card in the dog's deck has more lore pips, than ink cost. They can count to 10 twice, and finish you off that way. So Calhoun was pretty good there, as a fighter that put lore on the pressure on the board.
Yeah, I didn't have any copies of her in my build that I played. I know you and I both played against the same 2 dogs players, Royce and Sammy.
Yep.
Both great dog players. We split with both of them in the opposite way. I played Royce in round 1, and then he knocked you into the X2 bracket in round 5 or 6.
Yep, I've got Royce's deck right here.
Yep. And he finished in the top 16.
He was a top 16 finisher, yeah. Live to make top 8 in the last round. And just drew unfortunately against David Gardner, who was the red-purple player that made top 8.
Yeah, he rattled off 5 wins in a row after I played him in the first round. So great run there.
Yeah, an interaction that I had not seen in all of my, or not even recognized in all of my set 8 Lorcana testing, was the lady interaction with Cricky. So I am, you could say, purple pilled or purple brained, and so when I think of strength boost, I think of it in the form of challenger, like with Merlin Crab.
Right. Yeah.
And I did not realize that when you play a Cricky, you just get 3 attack, and lady quests for 2 more when she has 3 extra attacks. And my opponent, just 12'd me with ladies.
That's a lot of lore.
Yeah.
3 ladies play a Cricky, quest for 9.
Yeah, and then next turn quest to play another Cricky and do it again.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that we pointed out, but kind of didn't really understand when that lady was spoiled. Was that you can use the tramp and the Cricky to give her a boost.
Yeah,
but we never made it to the next step of, if you have multiple ladies out, 1 Cricky makes them all go for 3.
Yep.
And that's kind of nuts.
Yeah. Royce also in round, I guess, 5, was in the feature match against Red Blue, had an awesome game where their opponent played Scar and battled something and had a popsicle in play, but did not banish the popsicle, and Royce top decked a Go-Go Tamago when they were at 19, and were able to get the finishing lore with Go-Go on a character that was damaged in play when there was a popsicle sitting next to it. And Color and JDZ, who were in the booth, were going crazy to heal the Scar before passing back, and their reactions. I don't know if you've rewatched any of the coverage, but they were awesome in the booth.
I watched a little bit. I did go back and watch your feature match Color was wondering about the sleeves you were using. Typically, you and I are dual spec users. Those are hard to come by sometimes, or they're frequently out of stock.
Sold out everywhere.
I have a lot of KMC Hyper purples, so you and I were both using those this weekend. So so color, those are the sleeves. How'd they hold up for you, Dave?
They're awesome. So well, it's given the conditions, in the sweatshop we were in, they were really awesome.
Yeah, mine were starting to feel pretty sticky by the end of the event.
I have your 60
this looks like
on
a
the
disaster.
Screen.
Oh, that's why it looks like a disaster. Yeah, this is what I played. I knew Rhino was going to be everywhere, which meant I wanted to play Long Came Zeus. The numbers here are kind of all not legal, but I wanted to play an Amber Steel aggro deck, but I also wanted to play a Long Came Zeus. And playing the Long Came Zeus means probably playing Singer 4s. And playing Singer 4s probably means playing Ariel, and playing Ariel probably means playing a whole new world. So this is kind of an iteration of the deck that I've been playing since set 5, which is aggro Steel Wheel. Rhino's kind of a messed up Lorcana card. It's really strong.
Which Rhino are you talking about?
Well, the 4-drop is the messed up one. The 1-drop is on paper extremely unassuming. But this card is kind of nuts too. Like it messes up the combat math. It messes up the combat math in very silly ways. You demonstrated the power of Penny plus Rhino plus plus the rule to not allow any sort of notes or visual reminders on the board. You wanna talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so on the day, 3 of my opponents picked up one of their characters, turned it sideways, and then put it into the discard, the banished pile, for no effect because of a Rhino trigger.
Yeah,
the big or a Penny, which you don't have here, but this little guy here.
Yeah,
and the rules of Lorcana, as far as we know them, say that you're not allowed to use visual indicators for
any board state
board state stuff. So if a character gets evasive, or a character gets forward, or a character has its strength reduced or strength increased, you can't denote that in any way with, say, a dice or a token or something like that.
Yeah, you just have to remember that at whatever point your opponent played that Rhino during their last turn, and between when you were thinking out your line and taking your actions, that your thing is still strength reduced because it persists until its player's next turn. You have to remember that, so you don't throw your cards into the discard pile for no reason.
The best one I had, so I in round 2 I ended up losing to Purple Steel. And this was a Purple Steel equipped with Fire the Cannons. And one of the games I lost was because I mulliganed into 4 uninkables. I kept Cindy, Smee, Let the Storm Rage on, and drew 4 more uninkables. I was on the draw, so on my first turn I drew another inkable. So I inked that card and played Cinderella, and my opponent played another 1-drop and Fire the Cannons, my Cinderella, and then I drew another Let the Storm Rage on. So I had to ink my Smee. And then and my next 2 turns were like play a dock on 2 with no effect, and then the following turn was Let the Storm play hardcast Let the Storm Rage on. So I learned a little bit of a lesson there. But in game 3, I was on the draw. My opponent played a Chernabog.
Okay.
On my first turn, I played Cinderella. I passed it back to them. They quested with the Chernabog and left it on the table and played Calhoun. On my turn, I played a 1-drop and a Rhino, and I used the Rhino to strength reduce the Chernabog's followers. I picked up my Cindy, I thought for 15 seconds, and then I exerted her to sing Strength of a Raging Fire for 3 on the Calhoun.
Okay.
And the next turn, guess what that Chernobog's followers did?
Ran headlong into your exerted
ran
Cinderella.
Right into the Cinderella and just got picked up and went right into the trash can.
Yep.
And that was what I felt like. That was the kind of thing Cinderella. I felt like I needed in order to, win a bad matchup on the draw.
Mm-hmm.
It ultimately didn't work out because I just got buried by genies. And my opponent played 2 docks and I played 0 in that game, which was just, just how card games go sometimes.
Yeah, that's a bit of a disparity there.
I did make up the card disadvantage by taking a Chernobog and just getting it.
Just putting it into
the game really needs to allow these visual indicators. Like it's so easy to miss, especially in long, complicated turns.
Yeah.
And when you pass, so when I was on the other side of it, I played against Amber Steel twice, and they had rhinos, and when or rhinos or pennies. I started my turn by saying, like, can you remind me which card this rhino is on?
Yeah.
And so, like, the visual, there wasn't anything on the table indicating it, but I was sitting there wondering, the whole time thinking, like, about this rhino trigger, this penny trigger.
Right, yeah.
And it's unfortunate when you get somebody like that.
Yeah.
And, like, it feels like it's something that's preventable, but also, like...
Yeah. The game doesn't allow takebacks.
Yeah.
Right? They performed legal game actions, Unfortunately, they're kind of obligated to follow through on
shout out
legal
to
game actions.
Color is Law, who was in the booth for the Inking Invitational and responded exactly how I hoped she would when my opponent picked up their Cinderella and put it in the in the discard pile, because I was living for that moment, and she appropriately knew I was living for it and was happy for me. And was complimentary of it. I appreciate that. Any thoughts? Any final thoughts on this Hoffman that we're looking at on the screen?
I think it's worth exploring a little more. At times it did feel a little inconsistent. I think this deck kind of has a 2 halves issue, where it has on the play cards and it has on the draw cards, and if you draw your on the play cards when you're on the draw, you're just going to lose. But if you draw your on the draw cards while you're on the play, like, you're still in fine shape because going first is really good. It has like 1 or 2 more uninkables than I want to play, but I just kind of grabbed 18 cards that I wanted to play, fudged the numbers until I got to 60. Ended up on 3 A Whole New World, 3 Ariel, 3 Piglet, 3 Daisy, 3 Lawrence.
This is the one that's most offensive to me.
That probably like, if I were to play this style of deck again, I would cut some number of Larrys to bump up the number of ladies.
Yeah, Lady was just so good all weekend for me.
Yeah, Lady's really strong. I only had 1 game where I got to pop off with Lady, like with Lady and A Whole New World in the same turn, and it was a pop off.
Yep.
Like I put like 7 lore into play on the Whole New World turn, with Lady, Piglet, and Smee, just those 3 with 7 lore. And and then sung A Whole New World with my Ariel. And that felt really good. Every individual card in here felt really good. Just sometimes didn't draw the right cards together. Ended up losing to Sammy playing dogs. It felt like, without Calhoun, it felt like Rhino was extremely necessary. The game I took off of him, I had like 1 or 2 rhinos pretty early, and that made it pretty easy. And then the other 2 games, I didn't have rhinos early, and that made it extremely difficult.
I think I got fortunate against Sammy. So my on the play game, I had a triple Daisy opener, which is not great against dogs because it's 100% hit rate that they draw an extra card. And so I got to the point where I knew they had a kit in hand, and eventually I got to 19. I knew they had a kit in hand because Daisy had revealed it, and I was fortunate enough to draw Calhoun, who was like one of the 4 cards in my deck that stood upright into a kit.
Do you want to switch over to the list you played?
Yes. I played... where did it go?
Appropriately named Aggro.
I played this. So this is Vinny, Aggro, Amber Steel. It's not really Steel songs. It's just Vinny aggressive stuff.
Yeah.
So the original, and worth noting, there are no Rapunzels in this list.
None at all.
None. And so the original version of this deck was from Sky.
Mm-hmm.
He played Rapunzels. It was our friend, European player Primor, who cut them for Mulans.
Yep.
I trust Primor a lot, so I just took the 60 that he had and played it.
And Sky was having a lot of success with Rapunzel's in his list as well.
Yep.
I don't necessarily know which one is better. I feel like Rapunzel. I feel like it's really difficult to get Rapunzel value in June 2025. But also when you do, it's really strong. So I would not fault anybody for including copies of Rapunzel in their deck.
Yep. So the most interesting card, of course, was Vinny. I played against 2 red decks. I played against red blue and red purple. In both of those matches, Vinny was checkmate. You know, he's similar in a lot of ways to Pete,
right?
But he also works against Sisu.
Yeah.
And so, like against red purple, I had 5 other characters in play going into their Be Prepared turn. I play Vinny.
They can't play Be Prepared.
You know, they can't play Be Prepared anymore because I gain 5, and if they don't play Be Prepared, then I gain 5 anyway.
Right. Yeah.
And the same kind of thing happened against red blue. But on the flip side, against Royce, in game 1, I just needed any, I'll call it legitimate character, and I can win that game. And I drew Vinny, and Vinny got kitted, and I died.
I heard from you more than once that Vinny's a rumbler.
Yeah, Vinny. Every once in a while does a rumble.
Probably not as heftily as you need for the dogs matchup,
so interestingly enough about Vinny rumbling is he is a Rapunzel trap. Even though I don't have Rapunzels in the deck, my opponents don't know that. So sometimes you know, I live to get one cheeky lure in per game, and get away with it. Sometimes I don't. A lot of times I don't. Probably shouldn't. But every once in a while, you can turn Vinny sideways into like a crab or something.
Yeah.
And they won't battle it for fear. Or you could quest with something. You know, you could your Cinderella or your Mulan or your Rhino can get busy into a crab.
They can't. Yeah,
because they're afraid of the Rapunzel trap on the way back. So the list, if I were to play it, well, I did play it today. The list that I played today had 2 Vinnies, 3 Mulans, and I put 1 Kita and 1 Rapunzel in the deck.
Okay, I like Kita and Rapunzel. Having 1 Rapunzel makes people respect it.
Yep, and
especially if you ink it early, like they'll know you have it in your deck. They'll respect it.
I felt this deck was very strong into the red decks, and could afford to give up some edge into the red decks. And I felt very soft into purple steel. So the Kita was your suggestion. And I don't know that 1 copy is making a difference, but
Kita's a card that I continue to like. She just wins certain board states. I know it's sometimes tough to get to 5 ink. I played more than 1 game in my wheel list where I never inked over 3 even.
I often stay below 3, but every once in a while, you know, the docks or your opponent's Stacy's or something like that give you enough food that you can get up there.
Yeah.
You know, and often like sometimes you'll have Smee or a Piglet and Doc in your hand, and you'll draw. Yeah, you know, you already have the 4 ink, and you'll draw Cinderella, and you're like, well, I just might as well ink Cinderella and just go to 5. Play these 2 cards rather than take a turn off from playing Smee, or take a turn off from playing Doc. And so I crept up there every now and then, but I never went above 5 unless my opponents was like Hadesing me or something.
Right. Yeah. So
any closing thoughts on the Amber Steel dominated Ink Invitational?
Both versions of Rhino. I think it's a greater than the sum of its parts kind of situation. Both cards are individually pretty good, but together they're just monstrous.
Yes.
If you are on the draw and your opponent plays Daisy and you play a baby Rhino on your first turn on the draw, what are they gonna do? Like, are they gonna
stare at you?
Are they gonna like let that Daisy draw you a card, gain 2 lore, and then put her in the discard pile next turn when your Rhino runs her over with his indestructible hamster ball?
Yep.
Probably not.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you pegged both of those cards as being pretty good, but I don't think we really realized how good they were until we actually got games in with them.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I have here these tabs are the 4 events that happened over the weekend, including the Ink Invitational.
Okay.
That were over 100 players.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the Ludofest in France.
Okay.
Which had a double finals of Emerald Amethyst.
Okay.
Both discard packages. And then there was a red blue and a blurple rounding out the top. Interestingly enough, no green steel. Not even in the top 16.
No green steel in the top 16.
Lots of purple decks.
I know some of our European friends joke that people in Europe have too much dignity to play green steel, so that might be part of it. But I mean, we've recognized since set 5 even, like, it just the color combo is just not played in Europe.
Yep.
In any substantial numbers, which is interesting. Green purple is very popular over there. The deck is very strong. They just had the same deck name. Is that the exact 16?
No, they are different. So this first one is it's the classic green purple discard with a single It Calls Me. Shout out Rob Serp if it's his pet card. The wrong lever package continues to just be, or the pull the lever wrong lever package continues to be excellent. This is fairly close to a stock build. The bell is a little unique. The It Calls Me is a little unique. You would typically see this bell be a genie, and It Calls Me probably another wrong lever, but the rest of this is completely completely standard. And then for the second placed version of the deck, more in line with how I would play it, they had the
couple
chips.
Mm-hmm.
This I thought was quite interesting. The 3 green Diablo for Amethyst Diablo.
Okay.
Interesting. My gut instinct would be to flip those.
Yeah, I feel like the green Diablo gets you a lot of value, getting to see their hand for 1 ink. And if you shift onto the purple Diablo, you don't get the card back anyway.
Yep. One single copy of Improvise. This is just a Niagara popper.
Yep.
3 wrong lever.
Almost as good as okay. 3 wrong lever.
So this is very standard.
Okay.
So the Belgian versions of the deck look a lot like this.
Right.
I think they're a little lower on the quantities of chip, and you go up on Peter Pan. But pretty standard. So the second largest event after the French one was ours, won by Amber Steel. Worth noting, 1 green steel, again by Braden. No copies, 0 of Beyond the Horizon in his version.
No, I know Braden really doesn't like that card. I was talking to him, or I was I guess I was near him while he was talking to somebody else, and he was explaining that, the way you lose the green steel mirror is by having uninkable songs in your hand. And Beyond the Horizons will just sit there until Ursula takes it.
Yep. So then there was another 5K. I don't know where, organized through the Decade Sports and Cards.
Okay.
Another Amber Steel victory. I think you'll love this one. Very much an Amber Steel Doc aggro pile. Yep. 15 4-ofs.
15 4-ofs. That is, that's clean deck building right there.
As clean as it gets. Very similar with Rapunzel's and the addition of Pluto hanging out in here. As far as uninkables go, it's just Daisy, Doc. And Love the Storm Rage on 12.
Yeah. My Amber Steel pile, my Doc pile had 12 uninkables in it as well, those same 12.
Yep. I love this version of the deck. This is what I had been playing today.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
How's that been going compared to the Vinny version?
The simulator metagame is very heavy on green, purple, and blue purple. Mm-hmm. And Pluto protecting the little piglets and pennies and ladies from Elsa's coming down and cracking them has been quite good.
Yeah.
I like this version of the deck a lot.
I like this version a lot as well. I know our friend Harlan has been playing Amber Steel lately as well. There's a lot of options in the deck. There's a lot of cards that are really good. This is the second place deck.
This is the second place deck. Green purple discard. I believe this to be the stock version from the Belgian team. So I can't remember and I don't want to mispronounce his name, but he's got a Metafy for green purple discard.
Okay.
I believe if you went there and clicked on the Metafy link, this is the deck that you would see on the screen.
Okay, makes sense. It's got a lot of really good cards in it.
Yep, all good cards. Love Cricky. Cricky's great. Love the pull the lever package.
Yeah, Cricky as a card Cricky as a card just does so much.
Yep. I like this one a lot.
Yeah. Quest for 3 is like a one-sided be prepared.
Yeah. My favorite deck from the weekend that I have seen is this Radigan Blurple pile.
Okay.
It's got Kita. You love Kita, not this Kita, not the blue Kita. I know you like the amber Kitas, but
I'm not a blue card enjoyer. I played blue cards once and
but
I don't like it.
I want to talk about Anna briefly.
My opponent in round 3 at the Ink Invitational played that card against me. I had to pick it up and read it.
Did you realize you were dead?
I was slightly behind when my opponent played it. They already had an Elsa on the board. I read Anna and I scooped my cards up. Didn't need to play any more turns after that.
So this is Magical Mission. Is that what her name is? Magical Mission. Yes. She is a 6-cost 3/6. She does have the shift ability for 4, but nothing to shift onto.
Nothing to shift onto, yeah.
She does have support, and when this character quests, if you have a character named Elsa in play, you get to draw a card. This deck has 4 Elsas in it, just the 5th Spirit, the 2/5 that exerts stuff.
Yeah.
I love this Anna, and a recent development from Blurple legend JDRR is that he is also playing Anna. Whether he got the idea from this Aaron Wolp or not, who knows? Maybe Aaron is one of his students. Could be. Who knows?
Could be, yeah.
But I love this card.
But I believe the person who I played in round 3 is a Flower Farm member.
Shout out to them.
Shout out to them. This Anna, like she's another one of these cards where it's like, oh, okay, there's this sisters sub theme in this color pair. But if you play this Anna and you don't have Elsa in play, they have to get rid of it.
They still have to anyway, right?
Yeah, because the implication is that Elsa's coming, and when she does, like, Anna's just going to take over the game.
Yes.
And those were kind of the gears that were turning in my head when my opponent played this card against me, and I was reading it, and it's just like it's like that scene from Ratatouille where the chef is like getting more and more concerned and like distraught as he's reading the card. It's like, oh, I'm just dead. Like, I need to deal with this or all of the else's immediately, because if I don't,
very notably survives Along Came Zeus too.
Yeah. 6 willpower is a nice spot to be in.
Yeah, it's very good. And this is just an example of very good deck building with 4 bells to go along with the Anas. Yeah. For Monstro the Whale, I think 2 copies is what most of the Blurple players I know are settling on.
Yeah.
They've tried varying numbers 1 through 4. 2 seems right.
Yeah.
The Kita and the Radigan package, I know from my conversations with JDRR, those are anti-green steel tech.
Okay, that makes sense.
If you ever get Radigan and play against green steel again,
that's
all she wrote.
Really have a way to deal with that.
Yep.
They would need like a Cricky and to throw 3 things into him. Probably.
Yeah, this deck got so much better against Amber Steel in set 8.
Oh yeah.
So for whatever reason, most of the Amber Steels have become the aggro variants.
Okay.
We saw the 2 first place decks were both the aggro variants. The Steel Songs are kind of in hiding. This deck is still very soft as Steel Song, although if they don't have their best draws and you can get to 8 ink, the Monstro does clean it up. If you a whole world, if Steel Song plays a whole new world and you get to 8 ink with the Monstro in play, he gets to clean it all up.
Yeah. My Blurple opponent was playing Monstros, and it got to a point where I was trying to close out the game. We were both kind of low on resources, and I had a whole new world that I could sing. But if I fed them into 7 cards plus a Monstro, I just lose instantly.
Yep.
So I'm just sitting there with whole new world in my hand, hoping I can close out with what I have in play and what I would top deck. Unfortunately, I was. But yeah, that Monstro would have feasted.
Ooh, I
don't know what I'm doing.
I just noticed in top 8 a name I recognize, Alex Hansen, a fellow aggro enjoyer. Made top 16 in Seattle with Amber Steel aggro deck. Yeah. This is not an aggro deck.
This is not an aggro deck, no.
This has got a lot of different cards in it. 20 different cards.
This is about as much of a pile as what I was playing.
Guess we're not shifting rhinos.
I think I imagine I wonder if Alex would go back and add the last 2 rhinos.
Yeah. This is a cool deck. Shout out Alex if he hears this. Alex is a very good player. Continent's qualified, obviously. Almost always, I've known him to play Steel Song.
Yeah.
So then, the last event that was over 108 players was in Poland.
Okay.
The Disney Lorcana Quest Tour number 4.
Mm-hmm.
You would not believe what was going on in Poland.
Purple Steel went in it all.
Purple
Steel.
Purple Steel cards.
Yep. 2 Let the Storm Rage On. I don't know. Have you ever seen Let the Storm Rage On in Purple Steel?
No, it's very rare. The one Iago, one Madame Mim Elephant split. Also interesting.
Yep.
On bunnies and genies, this has got a lot of uninkables in it. 2.
Yeah. What are we looking at?
2, 8, 11, 12, 13, 16 uninkables. That's a lot of uninkables.
Yeah.
I guess if you get through it, I mean, Bouncing Rabbit is still a great way to win the game, but none of the this is a much slower version of Purple Steel. None of the instant lore gainers. No White Roses. No.
There are 4 goats here.
Well, yeah, but they don't have the Cobra.
Yeah.
Nothing to pitch.
No Honey Marins. Yeah.
Interesting deck. And then deck. two different Amber Steel decks. One classic songs variant with Darling Deer.
Ooh, Darling Deer. This one, that's a neat addition. I think that's kind of a cool one of, yes. Especially when you're playing a whole new world. Because if you play this, they're not super incentivized to clear it right away because a 4/4/1 isn't that threatening on its own, and it kind of already did the thing you're playing it for. But then you could just sing a whole new world with it. I really like daisies in a whole new world decks because you give them cards and then you wheel them away.
Yep.
And it lets you like dump a lot of lore on the board when you during your wheel turns.
And this was another very cool, interesting deck.
Yeah, this one is.
This was the 3rd place deck. No rhinos.
Man. Interesting.
But
I don't know how
very
this
cool
ever.
Very cool Namari synergy going on with Perdita and Lilos.
Mm-hmm.
Namari's an awesome card in set 8. The home hasn't really been found yet, but there were a lot of Namaris doing really cool stuff that I could see at the Ink Invitational. Yeah. Very, very awesome to see her here.
Yeah. I presently own 4 set 8 cards. They're all Namaris. I borrowed my ladies and rhinos from Lizard Kitty and TFM Lizard Kitty and Manfish. They were very generous and lent me some cards, and then I stole 4 baby rhinos from our friend Fumbles.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll claim ownership over those 4.
You can check my math here, but I think this is 19 uninkables. 4, 8, 12, 16, 19.
That's I'm not brave enough. I would not be brave enough to put this in sleeves, but it has very powerful cards in it.
Yeah, I mean, you do get to smooth it out a little bit with the looters.
Yeah, Mulan and similar effects, I think are. I know I've undervalued them. I think they're kind of undervalued by the community at large. And I think when you put these draw and discard effects into your deck, you can maybe go a little higher on uninkables. Because if you have a Mulan and a Perdita in your hand, that Perdita is not going to get stuck in your hand while you try to get to 6 ink. You just replace it with a usable card and go on about your day.
Yeah, and if Namari is surviving, you get to filter very fast. This is a Namari that survives scales the game so quickly in your favor. Mm-hmm. Very powerful card. Very cool list. And then the last top 4 list we have
a color combination.
World, green, blue.
Yeah, you don't really see this one at the top of standings very much.
You see this?
I love that card. I really like that card.
Yeah.
We're
talking about Rapunzel High Climber, the new Emerald Legendary, 2/5 evasive quest for 2. When she quests chosen opposing character, can't quest anymore.
Yeah.
Our first Rapunzel sighting.
Yeah, I like this card a lot. I feel like curving Rapunzel into John Silver is going to be lights out against a lot of decks.
Yeah.
I don't know how the questing deck ever beats that pair.
Yeah, this deck is very cool.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah. Impressions on week 1, set 8.
So across these 4 events, these are the 100-person or more events. Where is the green steel? There are looks like 2.
Just Brayden and
1 poor soul here.
And then one
RP4.
And then a couple a couple spots down in that same tournament there.
This is top 16.
But that's top 16, yeah. So it's not pushing through. A lot of people pegged this as like the green steel format early on.
We did. We pegged it as the green steel format. This one does have Beyond the Horizon in it.
Okay. I still am a fan of Beyond the Horizon. It hasn't been putting up numbers. I was very close to sleeving up a Beyond the Horizon list that just played Rhino's Singer 4s for Beyond the Horizons, No Whole New Worlds. I tested it a bit, and it felt like every other Amber Steel deck. Beyond the Horizon was sometimes a free draw 3. Sometimes it was a complete blowout on on reducing their hand from 7 to 3. It's still good with Daisy. You quest with Daisy, you give them a couple cards, you Beyond the Horizon them back down to 3. I think the card is good. I think maybe it takes a little getting used to, or maybe a certain playstyle preference.
Yeah. This is cool. The answer for where all the Emerald Steel was in Canada.
Okay.
At the ECS 1.5K cash tournament. We know a lot of people at this event. Dale, the winner, Green Steel Toolbox.
Yep.
Joseph Quigley, Pandemonium Heart. Blurple, second. Matthew Peddle, Haymaker, Green Steel. Chrome Cow, we're going to talk about this one in a second. And then 2 more rounding out. So there's 4 in the top 8 here.
Okay.
And Dale, longtime Green Steel guy, made multiple top cuts in DLCs with Emerald Steel.
Yeah. Dale is an exceptional player. Very skilled, very methodical, very thorough in his deck building choices and gameplay choices.
Interesting spice in this one. 1 chip to Pluto, the Basil, which I think is slowly becoming his signature card. Dale, that is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He's like the only Green Steel player I know tucking one of those away. I'm Still Here. 1 Hidden Cove. 2 Beyond the Horizon.
Yeah.
Cool list.
Dale builds decks that I love. I love 1-ofs. I love 2-ofs.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, especially like these inkable cards. If you draw them when they're good, they're going to be great. And if you draw them when they're bad, you put them into the inkwell.
Yep. Congrats to Dale on this victory. But I wanted you... I'm sure you have not seen this deck list before.
I have not seen this one.
I'll give you a minute to digest it.
Yeah, I'm...
This was top 4. It lost to Joseph Quigley and Blurple.
Okay. Okay, so we have a bunch of new cards. Lewis is a new card. Gadget is a new card. Desperate Plan is a new card. And then we have a good amount of cards that quest for 2. Cricky's very good. Goofy is basically an inkable Alice. John Silver is a card that I like. And then 4 Emerald Chromacon down at the bottom there. I don't know what to make of this. I see, like, this is also the kind of deck building that I love, where like the person who built this and played this like had a vision and had an idea for every single slot that they put in their deck. And this is the kind of deck that you pick up and you mulligan it badly and you play the first few turns badly and you do that for 5 games and you go, oh, this deck sucks, and you throw it away. This person, Mr. Enchanted YT, they had a plan and they put something really cool together.
Yeah, I think this. I also think this deck is probably not for me. I would go through that same experience that you had just described, but I do love it. I think 1 Desperate Plan is the perfect number of Desperate Plans.
I agree.
Because the punishment for drawing the second one is so high that I don't even think it's worth the risk of putting in your deck.
Yeah, it's worse. It's worse than drawing 2 docs.
Yes. Gadget Hack and Wrench is a card I was very high on. And I'm glad she got some time to shine. She's a 4-cost 3/2 quest for 2, and if your opponent has more cards in hand, you get to draw a card. And so she's she's
solid.
Kind of a genie when you're on the play.
Yeah.
And so I like that a lot. Luis. 3 cost 4.
Might be Louis.
Louis.
It has been a little bit since I've seen Princess and the Frog. He's from that movie.
Yeah. Louis, he's one of my favorite cards from set 8. He's a 3 cost 4 3 cost for 1. Enters exerted, and you can give an opposing character reckless. He's a Daisy Punisher. So when I was playing Lewis, I was doing it in green purple, and if your opponent has a Daisy and a Smee in play, you can choose to give reckless to the Daisy, and then the Smee has to crash into it anyway to save the Daisy, and it's like gain 4 lore.
Yeah. So looking at this, the interaction between Emerald Chromacon and Lewis is kind of nuts.
Awesome, right?
Yeah, it's kind of awesome. Like you give something reckless. Let's say they have a Smee and something else. Like you give their Smee reckless. Okay, he has to rumble in. Or they clear the Lewis and you get to bounce something with the Chromacon. So he rumbles in. Lewis trades. Emerald Chromacon sets them back. You get to continue developing your board. Eventually you get up to John Silver, which makes them rumble in every turn. I like this a lot. This deck looks very tough to play.
It's also the Chromacons can return your own docks, right? You can just.
Is it? I think it's chosen opposing character.
No. During opponent's turn, whenever one of your characters is banished, you may return chosen character to their player's hand.
Oh. That's a good way to keep the cards flowing.
You know why I could never end up on a deck list like this?
Because it has 19 unique cards.
Well, that too, but my brain is frying seeing 4 Clarabelle and 4 Doc in the same deck. How do you? I don't know.
You ink the Clarabelles when it's a Doc game, and you discard the Docs when it's a Clarabelle game. I don't know.
But this is also a deck I could never beat, because even in an open deck list environment, I would not know what's going on.
No. No. I'm looking at this and I'm having a hard time deciphering like most of what the game plan would be. I don't know.
As aside from the Doc Clarabelle thing that's got me going, the rest of it just looks like a fairly standard green steel aggressive deck. Like if you go back to set 3 green steel, got some 2 questers in there.
Yeah, it's got Go-Go. That's a good card. It's got Smee. It's got Merfolk.
Oh, resetting Go-Go's is awesome, right?
Resetting Go-Go's is really good.
This is a very cool deck.
Yeah, I like
it a lot. But that's where all the green steel went.
Yeah, I want to watch Ray play that one.
Yeah, that is cool. So, what do you think of the set 8 metagame?
I think the aggressive decks got a really big boost, particularly the Amber aggressive decks. Lady is a very strong card. Rhino, obviously limited to Amber Steel, but he kind of single-handedly did a lot to, well, not single-handedly, like it was a combination of things, but he is a very strong tool in Amber Steel aggro. I think next week, and in the coming weeks, we'll probably see these Amber Steel decks tempered a little bit, because there are reasonable counters to an early Rhino that don't involve just blasting him with the Long Game Zeus. Cards that move damage get around his resistibility. So something like Bell can clear him straight up just by moving 3 damage onto him. Something like Pain, or which one is it? Is it Panic? Is it Pain or Panic that moves the damage?
I don't know. Go to Dreamboard. I know which one you're talking about.
But that card can move, can move damage onto him. I think it's Pain.
Nope,
it's Panic.
Panic.
Queen of Hearts can clear him. Yeah, this card might be reasonable if the format is kind of coalescing around hamsters and indestructible hamster balls.
And birds.
And birds, yeah.
Panic is moving to the curve of Turtlebox followers, Queen of Hearts, Medusa, Panic. Is just is a pretty natural bird slicer.
Birds. Yeah. Yeah, that Medusa is really good. That was my other loss in the Ink event, was to Red Purple, where my opponent inked a Medusa turn 1, and then they Medused Ursula Sea Witch Queen on their second turn. It's like, oh, I'm just never beating this person. Have you seen this one? This looks very similar to the list that beat me. Yeah.
Yeah, this is David. This is the I would say the ink Red Purple list. I don't know if it was David Gardner's exclusive or if there were other players on it.
So I know I didn't play against David Gardner. My opponent, his melee handle was Pita Panda, and he crushed me. Like, this is the kind of deck that I was just never ever gonna beat with my configuration.
I'm very interested in this deck. It's so cool.
Yeah. My opponent sat down, and I guess he recognized my name, and he goes, oh, I've played against 5 Steel Song decks already, and we're in the 4-1 bracket. It's like, oh no. It's like, I'm 80% against Steel Song on the day, and you're playing not a very good version of Steel Song. So
the coolest thing about this deck to me is that red purple for ages was just like so clogged at the 4-drop slot.
Mm-hmm.
With rabbits, goats, genies, Iagos, castles. Now we're just down to genies. We're just I love these free Hades too. Like, they're so.
Once Hades gets rolling, like, probably just pack it up.
Yeah, this is a well built. Oh my gosh! It's like sharks with no sharks. I didn't even realize. It's like, how do we fit it all in? It's because there's no
sharks. Yeah,
no sharks. No Peter Pans either. This is a cool deck. Yeah. I like this one a lot.
That big Ursula is very good against decks that like to sing.
Yeah, I think that's what their text says.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts?
I'm excited to see how the meta develops. I have no plans currently to play in any more events until maybe the next Inking Invitational, or the next Ink event. I think it's an open event next time. Should be a lot of fun if we can manage to go. But yeah, I'm excited to watch. I'm excited to watch Worlds. I'm excited.
Thoughts on Worlds? I've been a part of many, just hypothetical conversations, and you've listened to and engaged in some of them. And there was the WCC events over the weekend that were won by some pretty crazy piles.
Yeah, I did not. I can't talk about that at all because I haven't looked at it. I wasn't paying attention.
I don't think they publish deck lists. I think that's.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe there's not a good way to do it, to publish 3 deck lists per person.
Yeah,
but I mean, unless I don't know how they do it.
Just scan.
Worlds seems. I don't know. I'm excited to see it play out. I'm not excited to watch the limited portion of it. I'm not excited to have Worlds class players' fates be decided by somewhat what is opened in 16 Orcana packs. It would be absolutely heartbreaking to have played extremely well all year, made it to the World Championships, and open 4 food fights in your packs, and other equivalent cards, and just not having anything to build a cohesive or comprehensive or competitive deck. I don't know. I feel like I am really disappointed that that's part of the format. I think the 3-deck format is a really cool take on core constructed. I know a lot of people are putting in a lot of work into that format, and I'm really
interested. Did you see the
winners
over the weekend?
I didn't pay attention to the WCC at all.
So it was 2 different events. The first event was won by red, blue, green, yellow, and purple steel, which we, in our analysis, in the last podcast that we did, said that was like the bully red color combination. Yeah. There's 3 decks that are good against red cards.
Yep.
And then the second event was won by green, steel, red, yellow, aggro, and blurple.
Okay.
But when I say green, steel, I'm sure you're thinking like discard or something, but this was green, steel, Mickey, Hades combo. He used sticky Mickey and the green Hades to put
the legendary one that turns that hopefully turns a small thing into a big thing.
And then the next turn you can use that same Hades that was protected by the first Mickey to turn the 10-10 Mickey into another 10-10 Mickey and blow up your opponent's board.
Because it deals 5 to everything.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Seems good.
And
probably what were they banishing the red pile then? Are they benching the red pile?
Their opponents did not like it to play red blue.
Yeah,
it's hard to know what they were banning. And then the finals they didn't get to ban anything. You have to win with all of them. But the Mickey pile definitely went over the top of everything. And I understood from our friend J-Bomb that the red-yellow version was just like a very aggressive Flynn Sisu kind of beyond the play and crunch.
Yeah. That's one thing that I haven't seen a whole lot in discussion, particularly around Worlds, is that you can build one of your decks that is an on the play only deck.
Yes.
And you can set it up. You can set it up so that you have an 85% win rate into the field on the play, because you only ever need to win one game on the play with it. And if you lose on the play with it, you can swap to it, or if you are on the draw with or whatever, like you can manipulate it so you never ever have to play a game on the draw with that.
If you lose with it, you just fire it up again.
Right. Yep. So I'm interested to see if anybody adopts that strategy where you bring one on the play only deck and 2 on the draw decks, because obviously if like your other on the draw deck bans or gets banned, like you have to have an on the draw deck.
Yeah, we had mentioned also on this podcast that we liked green and blue as on the draw colors, right? And so the problem with purple, right, was always what do you do with ruby, because those are the 2 colors that like pair naturally with ruby. And the answer is you just
play racers.
Just shove it in a amber aggressive pile. But green steel is a very good on the draw deck. Not the green steel that this person played. That was certainly a targeted choice. But it probably is making the world's competitors think, like, should I be considering green steel kaiju Mickey combo?
Yeah. Mickey is incredibly large in Quest for a lot. And if you like pair into it with your world's greatest criminal mind deck, it's still going to blow up your whole board. Yeah. You have to like play Let It Go or Into the Unknown to cleanly deal with.
The 2 colors with clean answers are blue and red, and they're most often paired together.
Yep.
That's the easy ban. Let the Mickeys come down.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what combinations the world's competitors come up with.
I am more and more convinced every day that red yellow is going to be a
top.
It's not going to be. I don't think it'll be the most. I think if I were a world's competitor and I was just bringing 3 good decks, I'd be really nervous. Like if I were playing,
if you bring 3 meta decks,
like amber steel, red, purple, amber steel, red, blue, and green, purple.
Yeah.
I would be very nervous because this format is going to reward you for min-maxing, and you're not min-maxing. You're just
you're
showing up.
Yeah, you're showing up. You're showing up to play. You're showing up with like a deck and a game plan for a meta that you might not even be playing in.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like everybody's tournament run is going to be just completely different. Yep. Because some people are, going to build their 3 decks and say, I'm never playing against steel. I'm never playing against red. I think those are probably be the two predominant bans, because those are the removal colors and those are the answer colors. And if you're playing against a deck, like if you're playing against a field that has no good answers for what you're doing, you can just run Rush Shot over the event.
I would be trying to find a way to play green-blue. It's just, when in a world without Pete, it's just so good.
It's quite good. I mean, yellow-green discard is quite good in a world without Pete.
Yeah,
but I think
that was one of the winners.
Yeah. I think a lot of people would ban yellow-green discard, assuming you'd be banning their Pete deck.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see. I think it's going to be a completely different thing than anything we're used to. And I hope a lot of people don't run out to replicate the winning decks, especially if they're off the wall, specifically built for a meta without a color,
without Amber Steel in it.
Yeah, and then they take it to locals and they get crushed by the color that the 3 decks aren't supposed to play against.
Yep.
But people will do what they want. I think it's a cool format. I think it's not anything I'd ever want to prepare for unless it were like a world's caliber event.
Yeah. If you were playing an event this weekend, what would you play?
I would probably be playing more Amber and Steel cards.
I'm looking at a format that looks like it's a little soft to Prince John.
Which Prince John?
The green one.
Yeah.
I'd be making people discard this weekend. If it were me.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Yeah, I got addicted to drawing 7 in Las Vegas, and I haven't been able to stop since.
You should try drawing 2 when your hand's empty for 2 ink.
I tried that a little bit, and the cards I need are always in the 7, and they're never in the 2. They're always in the 7.
Yep.
Yeah. Digging for a specific card with Doc just doesn't work out as well as digging with the whole new world.
Cool.
But yeah, what about you? Any events that you were playing coming up?
I will have one event. I'll do the Critical Hit Games in Bel Air, Maryland set championships, where I will try and defend my top 8 promo that I got at the last one.
Sounds good.
It was a rough one. I got clobbered by Rob Serp.
He's a very good player.
Yeah,
no shame in that.
And so that'll be it. I couldn't even tell you what the promo and playmat are for this set. So
I imagine it has to be Jafar.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm saving up all my grandparents watch the kids for set 9 when the Maleficent playmats and cards are available.
I think that's good. Save up all the dad equity.
Yep. All right, Bumi, it's been fun.
All right.
See you next
thanks,
time.
Dave. All right, talk to you later.
Yeah.
Bye.